Oh, I love talking shop with the boss of the Paw Sox, and we get a full show to do it tonight. Welcome to My State of Mind. I am Dan York. It is these programs that I sometimes enjoy the most. It'll be interesting over the course of the first year that we've been doing this project, what you think about when I'm a little less in your face about what you need to be thinking about and changing the world with as we go down the list of issues in our rundown. Tonight we won't, because this is a vacation or a holiday day or something came up where we needed to keep the chubby guy on television, but still have some quality content even though we're not here. And I love it. I've told you before that if you have a project or a person or a challenge or something that deserves some long-form conversation on this broadcast, you can get in touch with us, and we show you at the end of the show how to do that. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that it's a great time to talk to the Paw Sox. Any time of the year, it's a good time to talk about Paw Sox baseball. But at the time of our recording of this broadcast, we're just beginning the season. So why don't we start with the guy that really is known for starting it all. You know him, Ben Mondor, who we lost a few years ago, and I think the community really took one in the belly on this one. There's no doubt about it. But Mike Tamburro had been working for a long period of time with Ben at the helm of the Red Sox, the Paw Sox, and it's been seamless since. Welcome to the show. Good to see you.
Thanks, Dan. Always good to be with you.
If we have the time, and we did a previous show back in April over, and we had an opening day-ish type of conversation. But now that we've got some time to sit back and relax, we can talk about the history a little bit and what's going on now and what's happening in the future. And there's no way you can talk about the history of this franchise without talking about Ben.
Oh, no, without a doubt.
I'm sure every day there's still a moment where you miss him for some reason or another.
You know what? His parking place is still there, and his picture is on the wall in the lobby.
Anybody parking it?
His wife.
Really? Not you?
That's it.
Not you?
That's it. Special guy, a character of characters. Loved this city, loved this state, loved this ball club with his whole heart, and cared about every single fan who walked in that building. Taught me we have two rules with the Paw Sox. Rule number one, the customer's always right. Rule number two, if the customer's wrong, see rule one. That's Ben Mondor.
That's not easy to execute that philosophy.
It's not, but Dan, when you've been at it as long as we've been at it, I think we try to make sure everyone leaves that building happy, and if they don't, we'll make it up to them.
No doubt about it. So regale me with some of his stories, because they are plentiful. Remind everybody about your role and when you came into the organization and all the history that surrounds that.
Ben and I came in together in 1977. Haywood Sullivan and Ed Kenny. Haywood Sullivan was the owner of the Red Sox, part owner. Eddie Kenny ran the minor leagues, was a VP there. I had done an internship in Pawtucket in 1974. I'd gone to run the rookie league club for the Red Sox in 75 and 76, kept my eye on this bankruptcy that happened here in 76. Haywood Sullivan and Eddie Kenny wanted us to come in and clean up the Red Sox name. They put Ben and I together. All those years ago, nearly 40 years ago. And I remember the first day that we were together, walking around that stadium, an absolute mess, leaky pipes, dirty, unclean. There was a chicken stand down the third base line, and they were all chicken bones, frozen in the grandstand on the walkway.
That's disgusting.
And Ben slipped and went head over heels
Oh my God.
and fell flat on his back. And he looked up at me and said, "Kid, every businessman makes one mistake. You better make sure this isn't mine."
Wow.
True story. Ben Mondor.
And ever since, it's like a movie.
Well, it's been a great run. It's been a great run. I think we're closing in on 20 million fans have had the opportunity to come and visit since that day. In a facility that people said could never survive, in the shadow of the major league club where everybody in the industry said you can never make a living.
It took a lot of vision, not just from you guys, but it was government actually working in the right and productive way. You know,
Right.
then Speaker of the House, Johnny Harwood, had a lot to do with all of the controversy that John, brings up from time to time. There was some really good government work that was done to be able to secure the financing and get that whole thing together. Tell people about that, because
Exactly right.
we take
I
it for
mean-
granted now that the place just stands there and is like a AAA temple, but it didn't
No.
happen like that.
Without Johnny's help, without Tony Pyers' help,
Right.
they really were the guts behind the movement to renovate the stadium, to make us meet Major League Baseball standards, which we didn't meet at the time, to make the place handicap accessible across the board. It was a public-private partnership. It really was the state, the city, and the ball club coming together to do what's right for the community. And they were the cheerleaders, and they were the guys who got the nuts and bolts done. Governor Almond signed the bill. We tried to do the magnificent job of renovating a 1942 WPA project in about 8 months. I think it was a success. We opened to rave reviews, despite the fact that we
And what
had.
year was that, the
That was
opening?
99.
99, right.
99. Despite the fact that we had someone from the commissioner's office come and walk through the stadium in February and see where we were, and he said to us, "This is going to be a beautiful stadium, and I'll come back in 2 years when it's done." And we were done on opening day 1999.
So remind everybody, the structure of the ownership of the stadium is
It's owned by the city of Pawtucket,
right.
leased to the state, and we lease it from the state.
And the reason there's that three-pronged formula is why?
Because really the state and the ball club needed to step in the shoes of the city to renovate the building. The city wasn't in the position to help get that accomplished. And so it took the help of the state, and it took the help of the ball club to
And
make
that
it
lease
happen.
runs how
They
long?
just extended the lease for 5 additional years, which runs through the 21 season with an automatic renewal of 5. So it'll take us to 2026.
Yeah, so it's important, because you got to know what your number is going to be. Because we've talked in the past about the weather being so variable to your top line. You got to know exactly what the middle line is going to be.
Exactly. And also, I mean, we've tried to improve that facility every single year, and I think that's what fans have come to expect from us. Change is always good. We're always trying to upgrade it, always trying to maintain it, and we'll have a special birthday. I mean, in 2017, we'll celebrate the 75th anniversary of McCoy Stadium, and it's
Wow.
going to be a special event.
Well, I bet. When we come back, we'll talk about the business, not only of the Paw Sox, but of AAA baseball in general, its overall health. I'll get some baseball talk out of Mike, too. I mean, there's some weird things going on, including instant replay, which I'm an old umpire. I'm mad. Stay with us. There's nothing like it. I mean, literally, and especially on the first day. I'm not exactly sure what night this broadcast is airing. I'm guessing it's sooner in the season than later in the season. But there's nothing like the first time that you get out and see the green of McCoy or any stadium. Of course, Fenway just snaps at you, and so does Yankee Stadium. By the way, I got to tell you, one of my favorite stories of McCoy is when I first came to WPRO radio, and we had a night there, a promotional night, like a lot of the media outlets do, and they asked me to throw out the first pitch, and so I went to the mound, and it was an early season event, so the place was not quite full, but I made the mistake of introducing myself. I said, this is, without a doubt, the finest AAA stadium in America, and take it from a Yankee fan. Well, I didn't get the rest of the sentence out, and the place was booming. And, I came back, I was a new hire at WPRO, and they said, "Is this what it's going to be like around here, Bill? I mean, are you that stupid?" I'm like, well, I was just trying to be honest, because that's my thing. I'm honest about everything. Like, sometimes a little honesty is a little bit too much. I've since been back, and I've not made that mistake, thrown out a couple of first pitches, but the business of promotion is so important.
Right.
And we've seen hockey and basketball actually come behind minor league baseball in a lot of ways, which knew it a long time prior to everybody else. Now it's more gimmicks. I got to tell you, you guys do it so well pre-post or whatever. The baseball game, for the most part, stays the baseball game.
Yeah.
But, you know, either from collegiate athletics all the way on to gosh knows what, it's a promotional circus and sometimes a distraction from why I'm at the game, to be honest with you.
You know, Dan, I agree. I mean, again, we have tried to keep our field pure. And I think that we're unlike most minor league teams, but I'm seeing it at the major league level today. You know, we've always believed the game is sacrosanct. What happens on that field in between the lines is what the fans come for. They don't come to see sumo wrestlers, or they don't come to see
you mean
people
you don't got a
racing
sumo
around the
wrestler
bases.
promotion coming up next week? No?
You know, we believe in the game. We believe the game is great enough. It survived all this time without us. It's going to survive long after us. Let's enjoy the game. Let's keep it special. Let's keep it pristine. Let's keep it fresh. And let's create baseball fans. Not fans of crazy events, silly events. Watching moose run around the field, watching a guy race a horse. I mean, that's what goes on in some of these parks.
At the same time, we've got a screen, Jess, why don't you pop that up, of examples, and depending on where we are in the schedule, as you see this. By the way, this show will air out multiple times over the course of 2014. But these are the kinds of things that you will find. Friday family 4-packs, $44. What? You know, dollar menu Mondays, $10,000 Tuesdays. Sunday run the bases. Now, what's a better thrill, by the way? To be a little kid and it's one thing to run the bases in the local park. It's another thing to run the bases in a stadium structured like that. That's fun.
I'll tell you, the lines on those
still
Sundays,
like to run the bases.
And you know, I'm going to tell you something.
Take a little extra
sometimes
time.
those kids are in their 80s who run the bases, and it's great to see, you know, as long as they don't have a heart attack on us.
Gosh. That hasn't happened yet, right?
No, thank God.
Oh, goodness gracious.
No, but it's fun. It's fun. It's all about, it's a little piece of Americana, and the way they're lined up down that first base line, back out into the parking lot, and people are coming and coming. And sometimes it takes 20 minutes for this run the bases to end.
Right.
But we're also doing a family photo on Wednesday. So Wednesday after the game, you and your family get to go on the field and take a photo on the field. That's brand new this season. We think it's going to be a lot of fun. We think a lot of fans will take advantage of it. But those are our promotions, trying to intertwine the game, the feeling, the field.
What have you screwed up? There's got to be a couple of stories.
We screw up every day.
What promotion have you done in the past where you said, I cannot believe we did that?
I'll tell you, I'm not sure about promos, but the one screw up is we tried to roll the tarp in 40-degree winds one day, and it went halfway up the flagpole, halfway up the light towers. We had to have the police department come in and cut the damn thing down.
Oh my gosh.
We obviously got rained out.
Whether it rained or not.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, we make a lot of mistakes. But you know what? That's why there's erasers on pencils. You get another shot at it. And sometimes...
It's kind of like baseball. I mean, you play, how many games in AAA?
144.
144, 162 in the Major League. You get to come back the next day.
Exactly.
Until the very end.
Exactly. And so we're always trying something different, always trying something new. And I think you got to stay fresh. And especially in this day and age where technology dominates kids' minds. I mean, this is what you see kids doing.
Right.
I mean, we've got to get them really interested in a game that's very slow by today's standards, and keep them interested.
Maybe you should do a promotion. Put your phone away for 4 innings or something and see how long can a kid put his phone away for?
Brought to you by?
Somebody. You know, it's always brought to you by somebody. When we come back, I want to talk about some of the future trends that are going on in baseball. Again, you know, the videotape and the baseball part of it, and some of the cool things that Mike projects are still in the offing for the game known as America's Pastime. Stay with us. Yeah, you got to remind yourself that it's not just baseball at McCoy, because you know we do have a state municipal relationship, that there's a community feel to it. There are championship baseball games and football games that that occur at McCoy Stadium. So it's not just the Paw Sox and their 144 divided by 2, that it would be 72 dates. 72 dates. You sell out how many?
We'd probably sell out a dozen or so, Dan.
Okay. If Mother Nature was nicer to you, it'd be a little bit more.
A little bit
sometimes
more,
less.
you know, but you always work like heck to see if you can do more than a dozen a year.
No doubt. AAA baseball.
Yep.
The nature of AAA baseball is interesting to me. There are guys that will never go any further, clearly.
Yep.
Is it still that AA is the quicker run to the majors? Used to be, right? That the AA guys would have a quicker shot, and that's where they're actually nurturing their future talent more so. How does that whole thing work?
I think there was a time that became the vogue in the industry, but I think if you look at the Red Sox today, I mean, most of their prospects have to come through AAA. They don't rush guys from AA to the major leagues, and very few clubs do. Us, I mean, 70% of the kids who have played for the Paw Sox have gone on to play in the major leagues. That's the highest percentage of any AAA
70.
club in the country.
That's
70,
amazing.
yeah, 70.
You see a big difference between double and triple? I mean, single, double, and triple. I'd like to go around to a lot of minor league parks when I get a chance, you know, depending where I am in New England, and try to pick up a game and see what the real nuances and the differences are. Where do you see the differences?
I think the big difference is age. I mean, when you get to AAA, if you're a kid, you're playing against 30-year-old guys, 35-year-old guys, guys who played 6 years in the big leagues, 7 years in the big leagues, guys who played 10 years in the big leagues, and so it's the quality of the opponent.
Are these kids making a living at AAA? Are they make enough that they can actually raise a family? Is it still just, you know, living on the edge trying to
I
make
would
the big
say
show?
if you're a major league or a 40-man roster player, the answer is resoundingly yes. If you're a kid on the way up, you're making enough to eat today, you know.
That's it.
But again,
Big disparity, right?
after 6 years, you either get placed on the 40-man roster or you're a free agent.
Okay.
So you've got basically six years of time where you've got to hone your skills to get to the paydays.
We've asked this in the past. The International League Championship a couple of years ago was huge. Is that other thing, the national championship, important to you guys? It seems to me that the international, that's the thing, and it's almost like it's bonus, that other double league thing that you do.
For me personally, the Governor's Cup is always the championship.
International.
I mean, you win if you can win the championship of the league you played 144 games in, you've accomplished something. To me, the way the national championship game has become just a one and done. You run into a good pitcher, you may have the worst starting 8.
Well, that's why we don't decide baseball championships by and large by single games.
We don't.
Right?
We don't. But we do now with Major League Baseball, the playoff thing last year, where the two final playoff teams play a one-game playoff.
Yeah,
you know,
it's weird. Don't you think?
So
there's a lot of things going on in Major League Baseball that are troubling. I think some folks say just get it right. What do you think about replay?
Well, I liked replay until John Farrell got thrown out the other day. You know, and we get a guy at second base, and the replay clearly shows it, and now the umpires didn't see the full play. Well, what the hell is the replay good for? You know,
we don't have it in the International League.
We don't yet, but I got to believe it's coming because we all have cameras throughout our stadiums now. And so I think it's just a matter of time before replay filters its way down.
Speaking of cameras, your broadcast deal is what? You're on television on NESN on a pretty regular basis. How does that work?
NESN does about a dozen games a year, home and away.
And the radio is terrific.
Radio, we got 12 stations on the network.
The history of your radio teams, I mean, what is going on with the talent that comes through Pawtucket? It's almost if you want to be in the majors, you better come through Pawtucket as a radio broadcaster.
In the industry, that's what the word is. I mean, we've been very fortunate. We've had some quality guys going back to Matt Pinto in the 80s, who's the broadcaster for the Oklahoma City basketball team, to Gary Cohen of the Mets, Don Orsillo, Andy Freed with Tampa Bay, Dave Fleming with San Francisco, Dave Jagler with Washington, and on and on and on. You know, it's when we have an opening, the cream of the industry, the best young broadcasters in our game apply for our job, and we're fortunate. And so far, we've been able to pick them pretty good.
Yeah, you've done a great job. I could talk to Mike all day long, but we're running out of time. What's the theme for the 2014 season and the message to the fans?
Message to fans is that we got something going on every night to try and save you a dollar in these economic times, and we want you to come to McCoy as often as you can. Your family, come on in.
It's still, I think, the best family entertainment value. It's not even cheaper than going to the movies. It's ridiculously cheaper than going to the movies. Right? And I think it's a better show. Well, depending on the movie, I think given night.
As Ben told the bishop one time,
What's that?
it's less expensive than going to church.
Did he then go to confession?
Yeah, he must have.
Good to see him.
Thanks, Dan.
Jewel, in Southern New England, the Paw Sox. Your state of mind when we come back. Honestly, I could talk Paw Sox baseball all day. Not just necessarily the X's and O's of the game, but just the business. I wish that we could take a look at the model of what Paw Sox have done, and use the common ground for a lot of the innovation that we need here in Southern New England. With all of the harumph that goes on about our economy and this and that, there are lessons to be learned from what those folks have been able to do. So just keep buying tickets. Why wouldn't you? Your state of mind, if you've got thoughts on that conversation or anything else, 401-228-1886. State of mind at myritv.com is the email. Of course, you can tweet and Facebook post because social media is the thing, right? I will remind you that on these programs, when we've got some extra time to spread it around a little bit, you're more than welcome to use those numbers or those addresses to tell us that you've got a story that you want to have heard, told, explained, and we shall do so, and we'll get back to you, all right? So thank you very much for watching. It is always an honor and a pleasure to have you on My State of Mind and to have your state of mind included. We're here weeknights, 7:30, and we repeat at 11:30, Monday through Friday on MyRI TV. Good night.